Amnesty International has called for an immediate and transparent investigation into the gruesome lynching of at least 16 travelers in Uromi, Edo State, where vigilantes and armed youths allegedly blocked their vehicle, dragged them out one by one, and set them ablaze. Similarly, President Tinubu condemned the murder of traveling hunters intercepted by local vigilantes in the Uromi community of Eastern North local government of Edo State. The victims were hunters traveling from River State to Kano for Eid celebrations when they were attacked. Disturbing videos of the incident, which has since gone viral, show the victims pleading for their lives while a cheering crowd watched as vigilantes used axes, iron rods, and machete against them. They were reportedly tied to used tires, those in petrol, and set on fire. Initial investigations revealed that the victims, Northern Hausa hunters, were mistaken for kidnappers and killed killer herdsmen after local security stopped and searched the commercial truck conveying them. Tinubu, who expressed shock at the disastrous act of Thursday, commiserated with the families of the affected victims and assured them that criminals would not be allowed to shed the blood of innocent Nigerians in vain. On the other hand, Amnesty International strongly condemned the attack, urging Nigerian authorities to go beyond mere condemnation and ensure that the perpetrators are arrested and prosecuted in a fair trial. The organization criticized the government's consistent failure to punish mob violence, which has emboldened vigilantes to act with impunity. I would want to start with you, Barrister Ndanzi, on your thoughts on this, please. What do you make of this?
Yes, thank you very much. I will start by joining the call to condemning what happened. It is barbaric, it is unlawful, it is unconstitutional, and it's very, very unacceptable in all stratas. You see, nobody have the right to take the life of another, irrespective of what that conflict might be, whether there is ethnic cleansing, whether there are rivalries between tribes. Nobody, I repeat again, no one has the right to take the life of another. Even God himself condemned it. God said, "Thou shalt not kill." So we don't have right to kill anyone because we cannot make life. Okay? In our traditional societies, when you commit murder, you are banished. Banished if they didn't apprehend you. Okay. You'll be banished from afar. That means you can't step your foot back into that locality anymore. And it becomes a taboo. It becomes a curse that can transcend to generations yet unborn. Okay. Then, going by the provisions of the law, the Constitution itself, recognizes right to life. It is an inalienable and a fundamental right as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution as amended. Section 33, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution guarantees right to life. Okay. So, nobody has the right to kill another. Then in our criminal code, section 319 criminalizes taking the life of another. So you can see reconciling all this. What they did is barbaric. We condemn it. Okay. We join the voice of the president, the Amnesty International, and all well-meaning citizens of this country who have condemned that act. And we also ask that the security agencies should make haste and get those who perpetrated this evil, bring them to trial, and make sure that the courts prosecute them properly and jail them accordingly.
Thank you so much on that, Barrister Ndanzi. We've heard from the legal aspect. I'd love to get your thoughts as a humanitarian activist. let's get your thoughts.
Well, I also strongly condemn this barbaric act. It is inhumane. There's no justification for for people to be killed. It is dehumanizing. It is traumatizing. just looking at watching the videos, it's heartbreaking to see human life wasted in broad daylight. What beats my imagination is even the people that were standing and videoing it. You know, it shows their detachment with humanity. Like they have been disconnected. There's no more human feeling. There's no connection to humanity anymore. They've lost touch with life. They are videoing this barbaric act, forgetting that violence benefits no one. Such atrocities that was committed in broad daylight should be very strongly condemned by everyone. And not just this particular case. All cases of extrajudicial killings and such lawlessness should be condemned. Whether it happened in the East, whether it happened in the West, whether it happened in the North, across the country. We have to have this sense of humanity, that dignity of the human life. We have to treat people with that value. Let's say there are some legitimate concerns that they must have done the wrong thing. They are not in the position to kill them. They should go through a judicial process where they should be tried. If they are found guilty, there are laws and there are prosecution. There is a provision to punish them in accordance with the law. Not people taking the laws into their hands and then enforcing it and then killing them and wasting their lives. I felt really bad when I saw the video of the people who were videoing this thing. It shows that we need to look at our conscience and ask ourselves, are we losing touch with human life?
Okay, thank you so much, gentlemen. Well, according to the story, we were not there firsthand to have experience about it, but according to the story, these travelers were known to be hunters. And we know hunters, they have the equipment that they go with, which guns are one of them, you know, and then they are Muslims that are going to celebrate their Eid celebration, the Salah celebration. And we've heard about the whole issue of herdsmen situation. So let's say that this was a misinterpretation. Let's say it was a mistake in an instance where they were mistaken to be herdsmen. And this issue happened. And just like both of you have stated rightly, that there's no justification to take the life of someone, no matter what the case may be. Let's reflect back to the issue of herdsmen and farmer clash situation in the country, how the government have handled it. If we look at it from a different angle, do we think that these individuals that took the lives of these travelers were actually trying to pay back for the fact that the government have not listened to them in the whole farmer clash? You know, they decided to take the law into their hands in order to prove a point, to say that, okay, since the government doesn't want to stand for us, we want to stand for ourselves. We want to send a message back to these people in a way to, you know, get back to them, if that's the case may be. But I'd love to get your thoughts on this, Barrister Danzi.
Okay, let me begin with a constitutional authority. Section 41, sub 1 of the 1999 Constitution allows every Nigerian free movement. Okay, throughout Nigeria. You can reside in any part of Nigeria. You can move freely, unhindered. Okay, nobody has the right to hinder anyone from moving, so long as you are a legitimate citizen. All right, and if for any reason they are being found with, let's assume, arms and explosives or whatever dangerous weapon.
Okay, what if they were meant to be the misinterpreted herdsmen in that situation? What if they were actually the herdsmen?
Thank you very much.
Because you talked about having arms and explosives.
In the event where it is suspected that a person or a group of persons are with arms and ammunition, and you who has chanced into that suspicion, you have the capacity to apprehend them. The law says even a private citizen can arrest and hand over to the police for prosecution. See, the thing is, the laws of the land are there. We should not infract the provisions of the 1999 Constitution, which guarantees fundamental rights. which I believe also in other religion, I don't think they applaud taking the life of another unjustly, no matter what the religion is. I can't find any religion in the world that applauds killing of someone unjustly. The law says your life can only be taken if, for example, you have been convicted for that purpose. Anything other than that, nobody, I repeat, have the right, whether that person is a criminal suspect or not, you don't have the right to kill him or her. The law says hand him or her to the appropriate authority for prosecution. This is the right position of the law, and it is non-negotiable.
Talking about the law, IGP Mutokun has actually come to condemn the carrying showing of suspects in public. I don't know how he put the word. He condemned that, and then unleashing harm on suspects, on victims, in a public space. But we've not seen that law being put in practice. And I want to get your thoughts on this, Mr. Denam. And then I also want to ask you, the issue of the mob situation. Why has nothing been done about it? Like Barrister Danzi has stated, no matter what the situation might have been, we do not think it's a justification to take the life of another or take the laws into your hands by taking a life, no matter the situation it may be. But unless it comes to a threat situation, I don't think if I am under threat, I would want to defend myself. Unless when it gets to that point. But if it did not get to that point, I don't see any justification. And the way these travelers were actually killed, they were burnt alive. And it's not something anybody wants to experience in that instance. Why has the government not put serious consideration in this aspect, please?
It's a very important question. This is not the first time that we're experiencing extrajudicial killing in our country. It has happened many times, and then after a pathetic commiseration and sympathy and expression of shock, after some few months, we don't hear anything concrete. There is a general feeling of a sense of disconnect with the people, especially with the institutions, because the rule of law is very important in any democratic setting. And when the rule of law fails, you see mob rule. We are not supposed to have mob rule, we're supposed to have the rule of law. And the rule of law can be strengthened when you have strong institutions like the judiciary. So it is a call for the judiciary to sit up and ensure fairness in terms of justice. There should be fairness.
Well, and has the judiciary, because we have a legal practitioner here, I'll also come back to him. Has the judiciary actually been doing what's necessary of them?
From my perspective and from my standpoint, I think the judiciary is not doing enough in terms of the justice for people, irrespective of their status and their financial state and everything. People need to build confidence in the judiciary that extrajudicial killings like this should be prosecuted, and those who are caught, who are perpetrating such crimes, should be brought to the book and should serve as a deterrent to others to understand that we are operating in a rule-based system. And if you deviate, if you fail to follow the rules of the land, you will be punished for it. Now, they will be discouraged to do it. But when we experience extrajudicial killings like this and it's being swept under the carpet, and when people are victimized, I volunteered for an IDP camp when I was serving the Northeast. I experienced firsthand victims that suffered from these herdsmen clashes. I met a young boy there who is just about 12, 13 years old. All his family members were killed. He was going through trauma. And I was volunteering as a post-traumatic stress disorder mental health officer, helping to provide some mental health services to victims of these herdsmen clashes. And the young boy narrated the experience of how he witnessed the killings, the brutal killings. It's not what I can explain because it's dehumanizing to talk about it. Now, that young boy is in Nigeria. Do you think that young boy will grow up in a society where he will believe that there is justice in that society, that there is fairness in that society? Those victims, have they gotten justice? Those people perpetrating this act, have they been caught? Have they been arrested? Have they been prosecuted? So that it can serve as a deterrent to others. How will those people feel as citizens of Nigeria? that their rights in the constitution is being enforced, how will they feel? Maybe they don't even have money to pay for legal services for somebody to take up the matter. So the judiciary needs to stand strong, because they are there for both the rich and the poor.
True.
For everybody, for every Nigerian, they should have access to justice, so that we don't continue in a cycle of such extrajudicial killings, and after 3 months the dust settles down and it continues again. We have to treat this issue as a national issue, as a national problem, and we must ensure justice.
Thank you so much. I'll come back to you, Barrister Dandy, quickly. Why has the judiciary not actually been doing what necessary of them, just like Mr. George has stated?
Well, I will not subscribe fully to the fact that the judiciary have not been meeting up to standard.
Okay.
You know, we cannot rule out completely that we don't have lapses. We don't have fear of corruption, even though we don't have tangible evidence against any. We can't rule out the indiscretion, the discretion of the judges in delivering judgment. And also, you cannot rule out indiligent and diligent prosecution when it comes to prosecuting crimes. Okay, if a prosecuting counsel is not diligent enough in sifting all the facts, bringing all the facts, evidence before the court, that actually a suspect or accused person or a defendant in that matter committed a crime, the matter will fail. Most times, you don't blame the judiciary.
So why is there video evidences? Just like this incident, there were video evidences.
No,
that
of course, that one. You know, in law, it is proven. It is believed that any facts that is proven, any facts that is obvious, need not to prove anymore.
So, if the judiciary has been working like you stated, why is this a continuous thing, this mob killing? Why is it still going on in the country?
See, I think our people need more education, okay, sensitization, all right? We need reorientation, because a lot have gone wrong in the country, just like he made mention of victims in the IDP camp. He was attending to over post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay, I did some mental health certification. I have experience in mental health management and all that. Okay. I know what it's talking about. See, people are going through a lot in this country. A lot have gone wrong. There is ethnic cleansing going on in the country. We need to honor the fact so we can know how to solve this problem. The security agencies are saddled with responsibility of maintaining law and order in the society. It is their responsibility.
What does the judiciary do? What is the position of the judiciary in the arm of government?
The judiciary only adjudicates. You bring the matter to them, they look at the provisions of the law with the evidence before the court and gives a judgment. All right? If you are the prosecuting counsel, like I said before, the state counsel, and you don't do diligent prosecution, your prosecution might fail. But in this regard, the facts speaks for itself, so you don't need to prove it anymore in court.
Thank you.